Yeah, we're caught up from the previous life, so let's just continue from here. We're rounding up chapter 21. So we're saying that Revelation chapter 21, okay? And in verse 25, we see that this New Jerusalem, the gates will not be shut at night. Usually in Bible times, the gates of cities were shut at night. But now, because God himself will be the light of the city, there will be no more night. There will be no more darkness ever again. So there will be no need to close the gates of the city, to lock the gates of the city. Okay? There will be no night. To be one perfect, bright, continuous day. Okay? And verse 27 says, "See, and there shall in no wise enter into it anything that defileth, neither whatsoever worketh abomination, or maketh a lie, but they which are written in the Lamb's book of life." So no unclean thing will enter there. Okay? No unclean thing will enter there. No wicked, unrighteous person will enter there. There will, yes, the gates will never be locked. The gates will never be shut. But still, still, the unrighteous cannot enter. Still, the unrighteous cannot enter. See, it is only those whose names are written in the Lamb's book of life. Only those whose names are written in the Lamb's book of life. Okay? And now one thing that I want to point out here in this final verse of this chapter 21 is that it said, "It is those whose names are written in the Lamb's book of life." These are they who, or those are they who will be part of this New Jerusalem. Those whose names, it did not say those who are members of a specific church or those who are members of a specific denomination, but those whose names, or those whose names are written in the Lamb's book of life. Okay? I seem to be sweating so much tonight. Those whose names are written in the Lamb's book of life. So when it comes to salvation, your church does not matter. Okay, yes, I'll name the song again at the end. Okay, so when it comes to salvation, God does not care about your church. Your denomination does not matter. That is not what God is concerned about. What God cares about is your life. How you live your life. Is your name written in the Lamb's book of life? That is what God will look at. Not whether you're a member not whether you're a Catholic or you're a Baptist or a Methodist or a member of whichever church or denomination or sect, but is your name in the Lamb's book of life? That is what God cares about. Okay, that is what God cares about. So salvation is personal. It is personal. It has nothing to do with your church. So there are certain people who almost act like it is their church that will make them to be saved, but that is not true. You can be a member of the best church and still you won't be saved because of how you live your life. No, the church does not have the power to save a man. A church has no power to save a man. What a church does is to give that space, okay, for the fellowship, for fellowship, brethren, to give that space, that place, for fellowship with the brethren. Okay, but the church does not have the power to save a man, because it is you are the one who will decide whether or not you want to be saved by how you live your life. By how you live your life. So you can be a member of the best church and still your name will not be in the Lamb's Book of Life. You can be a member of a church that might not be considered so good, but you can still live in such a way that your name will be in the Lamb's Book of Life. Okay. I always say we need to be part of a church where the Spirit of God dwells. Okay? Yes, we need to be part of a church where the Spirit of God dwells. And we should always seek God's counsel. Should always seek God's opinion on the church that we attend or plan to attend. However, it is not your church that will save you. It is you who will make the decision to be saved. Okay. So I ask again, is your name in the Book of Life? I think I asked the same question yesterday. I'm asking it again today. It is not I. In fact, it is not I who am asking. It is the Lord asking you tonight. Is your name in the Book of Life? When you stand before God, when the books are opened and the Book of Life is opened, will your name be there? Will your name be there? I pray that the Lord will help us to take stock of our lives, to reflect on our lives, and make the necessary changes. May the Lord help us so that our names can be in the Book of Life. In Jesus Christ's name, amen. So, for those who are asking about the song I mentioned, are you ready to take it down now? If you're ready to take it down, just indicate. Okay, so the song is The Holy City. The Holy City. Okay, so you can check for it anywhere on YouTube or wherever. Okay, The Holy City. I hope that it will bless your life. It's basically talking about the New Jerusalem, which we've read today, which we've studied about today. Okay, it's talking about the New Jerusalem. It's a beautiful song, a wonderful song, and I know it will bless your life. All right. So thank you all for being a part of Word Meal today. It was a pleasure having you here. For those who joined on this live, we are cut off from the previous live, so you can just check the previous live, okay, and so you can watch from the beginning. Okay, so thank you all for being a part of Word Meal today, and it was a great pleasure having you. I'll see you all again tomorrow. We're almost done with Revelation. We have just one chapter to go, chapter 22. So when we read chapter 22 tomorrow, we'll be done with the New Testament, and then we'll move on to the Old Testament. Okay, so see you tomorrow as we round up the New Testament. Have a lovely night's rest, sleep tight, sweet dreams, and good night.